Alright, you guys, so I'm gonna go over today's trading recap. The only trade that I took today was SPY. I took a quick scalp in the morning for calls, and then I took some puts. So I'm gonna show you what I ended up getting. So let me zoom in here. Right, so we're gonna go to SPY, ticker SPY. What I usually do is check the 4 hour, so basically we see what happens here, right? So on pre-market, if I go back in time and actually put it for the day of, which is Thursday, if I zoom in, right, I started noticing there was some resistance here. So I had a big level that was setting up around this area, right? There was a level there. The next one that I had was right up below here. Besides that, where buyers were holding. These are all the levels that I had for SPY. So on the beginning of the market, yesterday when we were trading, I usually go to the 15-minute and start looking at my time, right, to see what's going on with the candles. I was noticing that there was a ascending triangle breaking out, right? We took some calls yesterday to 477. There was a yesterday's play. Ended up going straight to 477. I mean 475 to 477. Yeah, hit our target. Okay, so now on the pre-market data, we saw that this ended up dumping, right at the morning for the market open. I started seeing that it went back down to 475. What I was expecting was, like, as long as it holds this level that was hard to break out, which was taking a while to break out for the past days, which is here, I was like, okay, we break down, this should become our new support, right? This should be our support from supply. I ended up dropping down, and I was noticing that on the 15-minute, it was holding that 474 area, right? So this was an hour prior to the market open. There's a 15-minute time frame. We put a couple candles, and we were noticing that it was going back up again. So what I wanted to do is, if it breaks above the pre-market high, which is this one, right at 478.48, I'll take some calls. As long as it does that, or it doesn't look give me any bullish signals off the time frame that I use, which is the 1 minute for scalps, then I wouldn't look at anything else. I wouldn't try to go to the 1 hour, 15-minute, or 30-minute, because I'm trying to scalp right at the open. So right at the open, before this candle actually even closes, I was noticing that it was kind of rejecting that 477.38. So what I did here was that I ended up noticing that it was going to be a hard level to actually break out now. So either I would wait above these calls or take a rejection. So what I wanted to do is take probably a quick drop back to market where it was holding the pre-market open, and then back up, and then to see what happens there, right? So this was my theory for the morning, to take puts to the downside. And obviously we go to the 1 minute. We see the 1 minute, obviously they zoomed out a little bit. What I did on the 1 minute is that I waited to see if I get any candles that are coming in. So in this case, I saw that it was creating a red candle right above that 477. It just completely went down, and I wanted to see a little pullback for it to come back up and drop, right? So what I saw here was that there was a bullish engulfing appearing above that level. I took a slight play for calls, and I have my stop loss below. This was going good, and then I ended up taking some profits around here and let the runners run, just in case it didn't break out, right? So it kept holding. This looked pretty good at that first, so I let it go, and then I set my stop loss, and I was like, if I see another candle coming into the upside, I'm gonna take more calls. At the end of the day, it just ended up dropping, right? It dropped below. I didn't take any puts here because I wasn't paying attention to this area, so I let it drop, and I wanted to actually see what's going to happen. If it pulled back, gave me that nicer rejection on the upside, and that's what I will take. So I let it drop, and I wanted to see any pullbacks coming in. Okay, so the first thing that I saw here was that this was creating a bear flag, right? I was like, there's a bear flag appearing. We could take the stem extension here. It'll try to drop it down, and maybe we will break out and come back to this point, which is obviously I don't have no level, but this is mostly what you calculate the bear flag of. You get the pull from the upside and you drop it down. Alright, so this is what I was expecting. It didn't give me that. Obviously this would have been a nice entry at the top, but I only took the calls here, exited on the top, made like a 15% profit. This one I didn't take. So what I did was I ended up taking some puts. when I saw a bearish engulfing candle or any shooting star that's going to give me approval that is going to keep dropping. In this case, when it went up, this is where I'll show you where I got in. This is a nice perfect entry. Get it for puts here. Stop loss above these candles. There goes the play. You gotta keep letting go, and there you go. So what I was doing here is that this looked really good. Buyers could potentially show up there, but I still wanted to see what happens if it breaks down below. Right, so it kept going after that. There's a play that I called out for a 50% move, and after that we left the runners, and the runners ended up giving us over 115%. That's basically it. You can see it do it again. Gave you another small bear flag here. Take the same position. That's basically the whole move today. And if you keep following through these levels, at the end of the day, it just gives you the same rejection. You could take some puts off down, and you will get a whole move back up. So you have to wait and be patient for all these moves that are happening in order for you to get a good level. You see, so once you start rejecting and showing you that these levels are actually holding, then it's good. Obviously the bottom could have been caught, but I was already done trading here off of this play because we had some runners. The runners ended up going back there. Our entry was here. You could have entered one more time there and sized in, and then leave the runners on top. So the whole runners ended up giving us 115%. Back to our target to 472. From here on out, you start seeing buyers are trying to show up, right? There was no play for me or no calls unless they were placed above this 475. Of course, you could have got the bottom. You could see how there's forming an inverted candle, head and shoulders here. You could have taken that position, but in this case, if it goes above that 475, you could take some calls to the upside, and it'll probably return back to the open. This was a nice position. I was already done trading for the day, but this would have been a nice play. Obviously, you could have waited for a rejection, which would have been a nicer move because then it shows you trend. But in this case, the only way you could get in for puts here is if it goes below where buyers were stepping up, which is around this area. When below there, of course, you would have taken a nice flush back down and maybe create another low from this low that it created before. But instead of that, that low that we had, the higher low that we created, it broke out of it. So you would have taken some plays back to this position to take it back up, and that would have been a nice entry. But like I said, I was done trading, and that's basically it. That's basically what I did for SPY. This is as thorough I could go through with this trading, and thank you guys for watching.